Good day, everyone. My name is Joshua T. Berglan, and I want to welcome you to the World Mayor Experience, Episode 4. Today is going to be absolutely awesome. We have a guest by the name of Paul Levitin. I hope I pronounced that right. I seem to struggle with this, but nonetheless, this is going to be a really interesting conversation because this dude has got it going on. I mean, as far as looking like a Greek god, just being an overall impressive human being. All of that's great because, I think we, as humans, sometimes we look aesthetically at everything. We look at the appearance and then we see that and go, wow, okay, that's amazing. And that's really about as far as it goes. And that's kind of what social media has done for us, is that we're just looking, and in a way, not that it's always lusting, but we're looking at it in a way of, I want that, I want that, I want that. And we're just looking at an object. We're just looking at a thing. And with that, and that can be enough to motivate some people. But then we use that as motivation and we get there and then we realize that, well, okay, so now I've got this body. I may look good, but what else is there? Put all my energy into having this physique, and look in some kind of way to attract the ladies or to attract whoever it is for you. And then you're, wait, I got nothing else. Like, can you relate to that? Have you ever done that? Where you see something you want, you put all your energy into getting it, and then you get it, and then you realize, well, that wasn't fulfilling. That didn't do anything for me. I lived that life. I lived it, and it sucks. Not that I've had a six-pack that often, just being straight up. I've only had a six-pack a few times, sometimes healthy and sometimes some very, very unhealthy ways. But nonetheless, there's so much more to it. As I've been on my own healing and growing journey and to become the man that I was created to be, one of the things that I've realized is that, you lacking in one area of life, typically, if you're aware of that one area of life that you're lacking, what you soon realize, if you go and try to fill that you lack, or replace it, or heal it, or grow in that area, you realize that, well, actually, there's a lot more areas as well to grow in. And for me, that has been my experience. It's amazing how, when I first made my life change, I thought that was it. I thought that was done. And then after my high wore off, not literal high, spiritual high wears off, I then realized, whoa, there's a lot more work to do. Then you do the work and you climb up another mountain, you conquer another demon, you slay another giant, whatever it is for you. For me, it was all those things. Then, okay, I got victory now. I'm healed. I'm all the way back. I am strong. I'm able to do all of these things that I was created to do. Sorry, this not being centered is bugging me. Those of you listening audio only, I move things around. Anyway, that's what that noise was. Anyway, but I now have, for the longest time, I have thought that I can do it alone. And obviously, I have a relationship with the Creator. I'm not going to get into all of the names and all of the specifics because none of that matters. For me, I have a relationship with the Creator, and I'm going to leave it at that. And, but I thought it was just me and the Creator was enough to do this. And then, I was by myself, and then I tried to have a relationship, and it failed miserably. And then what I realized about that relationship was that relationship was serving as a mirror for me and how I was showing up. And really what I was getting from that person was showing me how I was really being. Even though in my mind, my perception was that I'm this great and holy man and have it all together and, and really I didn't. And that was sobering. And I work on that. And then God blesses me with, God blesses me with somebody that absolutely is the right person for me. And And even with that, has served as a mirror and showing areas that I get to grow and improve in, because, I can be really, really stubborn. Now, get to our relationship, and our relationship's moving along and everything's wonderful. But then I'm still shooting myself in the foot. I'm still setting myself back some. Like, where'd this come from? Like, why did I lose my crap? Why did I snap at that person? Why did I take so much offense to something that they said? All of these little examples of things that just kept popping up. And then, and just being fully transparent, my relationship with sex has not always been the greatest thing. And even with this determination to be the man that I was created to be, I have blind spots with just how distracted I could get from boobs or sex in general, or fantasizing about anything, not even always sex. And then, and I'm realizing more and more and more that I have more and more blind spots. And so I started about 2 weeks ago down this path of self-mastery. What I was getting to before, when I was talking about not, be thinking I could do it alone, I realized pretty quickly that, and just like you can't really complete a goal if you have a big global vision or a big mission that you want to do work in the community, or you want to help a certain demographic of people, or you're just drawn to a cause, no one can do it alone. And I've realized that the hard way, because for so long tried to do this alone. And what I realized that, and I didn't want to do it alone necessarily, but I felt alone. And I'm realizing that a lot of the reasons I felt alone was because of how I was showing up, how I was presenting myself, how I was giving my opinion and my beliefs to every little thing that really didn't even matter in that situation. Sometimes I would even overshare about my own self and life in times that it really wasn't even appropriate, but for whatever reason would fall back into this default mode and behavior of how I used to be. And one of the ways how I used to be was simply that I was so scared that everyone was going to leave me that I figured, well, I might as well throw out all my bull crap now, because if they like me, they love me. I mean, if they're not going to leave after hearing this, then maybe they'll stay with me. It was like this defense mechanism. But none of it was really inviting. It's like saying, hey, come get to know me. So I started working with a coach, and this is not something I sought out. The coach came to me, and I got to tell you that it wasn't something that I was all excited about. But I realize, and very humbly say this, that I know I can't do it alone. I can't, any of these big dreams and goals that I have, and I have a lot of big dreams and big goals, not just for the community I live in Northfield, Minnesota, which has become home so quickly, I can't even begin to tell you. But also the global vision, the world's mayor experience, not what you're watching today, but what it's going to be and what it's growing into. Even the youth media literacy centers, building those all over the world, all that stuff, that is not like that I can't do that alone. I can't do it alone. And there's sometimes where I felt alone and I felt like no one liked me, or I thought all of these delusional thoughts. And really what it's come down to, and what I'm learning from coaching, is that sometimes I say things that doesn't need to be said, and that pushes people away. Sometimes by being aggressive in my nature and even my desire and my heartfelt passion to serve and give back and to do good in the community and do good around the world, sometimes that enthusiasm can scare the crap out of people, because what do shady people do? Shady people come on strong. Like, you think about a narcissist. What does a narcissist do? They love bomb you to death. And they rope you in, and then you're become susceptible because you've dropped your boundaries, and that's a whole other conversation. But one of the things that I'm learning in self-mastery, other than speaking less, being less opinionated, sticking more to real truth, verifiable truth, absolute truth, as opposed to perceptions of truth. It's kind of hard because I'm an opinionated person. In the world of social media, I realize that, I've now don't tweet 90% of what I would normally tweet or post. And it's different, but it's changing my life because I'm avoiding fights and arguments, and now all of a sudden it's like I'm more approachable. Because honestly, it doesn't matter what my beliefs are. It doesn't matter what yours are. You're still a human being and you still have needs. You're still worthy of love, and as am I. And whether we believe the same thing or not, it doesn't change the fact that you're worthy of love, and my job and my duty and my purpose is to love and be free and eliminate anything that takes away from my freedom. And one of the things that takes away from my freedom are those little parts, those little alters, those little versions of mini-me's that are inside, those separated parts of myself that have come from trauma or, perceptions of beliefs or perceiving what other people say or believe about me. All of these things that add up over time. There's a lot of them. Today's lesson, day 15 of this 28-day process, was about surrender. And one of the things that it talked about was free will. And I always thought of free will was this gift, and like, hey, well, God gave us free will. We can do whatever we want. But if life is a paradox, what is free will? Yeah, we have free will, but does it mean we should exercise it? Because free will gets us in a lot of trouble. Free will says, I'm going to say what I want, tell you what I believe, tell you what to believe, tell you that you're wrong, tell you that I'm right. Free will is I'm going to go sleep with whoever I want. Free will is I'm going to curse you out and I'm not going to give a crap. Free will is just going to do whatever I want. But is it best for me? Probably not. Surrender is surrendering all of that free will for the Creator's will. And I believe, even though we have the Creator, a piece of the Creator inside of us, in my belief, which I'm trying not to tell you what I believe, but I absolutely believe that we have the parts of the Creator inside of us. And, and typically, and I think about truth, the only thing that's ever been proven to be true in my life, that's an absolute truth that I can verify, is the truth that comes from within. Now, do I always listen to that truth? Oh, no, I don't. I'm working on that. That's part of slowing down and speaking less and speaking slower, which is also very difficult for me. I get really passionate. But surrendering my free will for the Creator's will for my life allows me to move freely and move in freedom. And it also allows me to love the way I want to love. So, thank you so much for listening to that. Obviously, there's a much deeper dive, but today, just wanted to share those thoughts with you. Thank you for listening to the opening monologue. And today, we are going to discuss with an amazing guest. You don't want to miss this. Because like most interviews, I didn't spend a lot of time preparing, but I do know where I want to take this conversation. And this conversation today is going to be absolutely powerful because our guest, who I started talking about at the very beginning of all of this, is not just the person that you look at and go, wow, they got it all together. And, from a physical part, but this dude's doing the work. This dude inspires me. This dude is the representation of what it's like of having mind, body, and soul together. By the whole package of someone that is working towards self-mastery. And then self-mastery is not so much as egotistical as it may sound, but it's mastering ourselves so that we can be what we were created to be, not just for ourselves and our family, but for other people, because ultimately our gifts and our talents are about others, not ourselves. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Mr. Paul Levitin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the World's Mayor Experience. I am so excited to have somebody that I talked about in the intro, and I'm sure a lot of you that heard the intro were going, where the heck is he going with this? But I hope the ending made more sense when I tied it all together. One of the joys about being dyslexic is that I speak and think in figure eight sometimes, so it seems like a conversation's going off the rails and then comes right back. So anyway, I'm really excited to have our guest here because, as I shared before, I don't know a whole lot about him, but looking at what he is as far as his physique being built like a Greek god, it's really easy to go, hey, this guy is just like all about working out and that's it. Oh God, no. There's so much more depth and so much just inspiring work that our guest is doing, and this path that he is on aligns with something that I'm on. And ultimately what it is to be the best version of ourselves, to be all that we were created to be. And there's so many different paths to getting there. And there's so many different teachers along the way that those of us that have chosen this path, this hero's journey to take, you know, we find different teachers and different leaders, and sometimes it's religion, sometimes it's philosophers, sometimes it's just through contemplation that we choose this path. It doesn't matter. The point is this: I admire people that are on the hero's journey. And part of that hero's journey is to not just be the hero of our own story, but it's also to help other people. It's to serve in a big way. And that can come in a variety of ways. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce our guest to you today, Mr. Paul Levitin, to take a deep dive in mastery, in mindset, in leadership, and just what it takes to be an overall supreme being, or at least do our best to be the supreme being that we were created to be. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Paul Levitin. Paul, how you doing, man?
Well, I'm doing amazing, and I'm doing even better after that amazingly kind introductions. So thank you so much. And I really just agree, and I'm feeling the positive energy right now. So I'm having a good one today.
Excellent to hear. I told you before, but I really like your ink a lot. I have some to finish for myself, but right now is just not the time to do it. But I like this, but I want to say, before we get into mindset, leadership, and in that discussion, and maybe even fitness, mind health, all of that, I would love to know, what are you grateful for today and why?
Well, you said it right there. What am I grateful for today? I'm grateful for today. And that's always what I'm grateful for, because, you know, as cliche as it sounds, tomorrow isn't promised, and neither is today. And every day is a good day as long as you allow it to be. So every day that I have, I'm grateful for and thankful for. I'm grateful for being here with you and how I get to spend my day. And it's just a good day to be alive.
Yeah, I like that. So for me, I used to try not to so much dwell in the past. I've always been good at moving forward. However, carrying kind of like Santa Claus with a big Christmas bag, my baggage behind me. Like I always carried it with me, even though I was moving forward. And that is exhausting. And then of course, another thing that's very exhausting that I've learned recently is future tripping. Like, oh my God, what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't have money for this, or there's so many different scenarios that can take us out of now in the moment. And it seems like, based on your answer, one of your areas of focus is now and the power of now. What got you to that point? Because that society doesn't teach us to live in the now. So where did that come from for you?
Yeah, it's interesting that you picked up on that. That definitely is something that I wouldn't have thought of, but I would consider to be like one of my superpowers, so to speak, because it is something that so many people struggle with. And it's funny because my girlfriend has asked me about that, actually, because she struggles like most people do, a lot of past and future baggage. And she's always like, how did you learn to be this way? And it's a combination of luck and training. Luck in that this is part of my personality, who I was from the beginning, but also a lot of education and learning and studying different religions, different philosophies, a lot of what you said in the beginning, mindset stuff, Buddhism, Stoicism, these type of things. But also, I'm a very logical person, right? I've always said that about myself. I'm a very left brain person. And, people can hear that and kind of think sometimes that's a negative thing, right? It can be too logical, and like we don't pay attention enough to our emotion or the other side of things. But to me, that almost hyper logic is what causes me to live in the now, because it's just a logical answer to me. Focusing on the past doesn't help. Focusing on the future doesn't help. So logically, to me, the only thing that is worth my time, my energy, and my focus is right now, because it's the only thing that I can affect. It's the only thing that I can change. And if I can focus on that, I can understand that my future will inherently be better. The future doesn't get better by focusing on the future. Future gets better by focusing on the now, and then your future becomes better as a consequence. And the past, again, it's a great as a tool to learn from, in so much as you can take it for what it is, which is something that happened already, that you can't change, that no amount of focus on it will actually change. So if we can take it, we can grow from it, we can learn from it, that's great. Not saying that our past doesn't count for anything, but it's only good in so much as we can use it as a tool to move forward. So for me, that's just, again, it's just logical to me. It's like when someone is talking to me and they're talking about something they're upset with that happened last week, or they're focused on something that's coming up down the road, it's just like, okay, but how is that helping the situation? How is that actually changing anything? And if it isn't, to me, it's just wasted energy. And I'm, again, just being very logical. Energy is our most finite resource. Time and energy, they're two things that are the most valuable in this life. And they're two things that, time we don't get back, definitely. Energy you can theoretically get back, every day you recoup some energy or things like that. But we start each day with a finite amount of time and a finite amount of energy. So to waste it, to me, is tantamount to a sin, right? It's like, that's the worst thing you can do. So for me, I'm very protective of my time, and I'm very protective of my energy. And so I know spending it on something that happened before or something that hasn't happened yet is just kind of silly.
I want to ask you about visualization, but first I'm going to talk about distractions, and I'm writing that down because I don't want to forget. One of the biggest energy sucks that I have recently learned about, and it helped me stop the habit, was getting distracted with lust. And like literally I've been practicing contemplation and looking back at how I easily distracted I can get. And it's not just lust like, oh, boobs or great body. It's not just that kind of lust. It could be, man, that's a sweet apartment, or that's a sweet whatever. And just letting my mind drift away to start focusing on stuff that I want and I don't have, and realizing how exhausting that can take, the path that can take me down. Now, of course, one of my biggest challenges to overcome was, I was a 20-year chemsex addict, and the last 7 years have been on this journey to heal from that and heal my relationship with sex and remain drug-free and making the right choices for myself. And as I got rid of the drug addiction, the one thing that my brain just settled with was like, well, I'm not acting on this lust. I'm not acting on, oh, boobies. Or I'm not acting on that, so I'm okay. But through recently this work I've been doing, I've realized just how much time and energy is wasted off of those types of distractions. And then you can add in social media, and then how much time am I actually wasting a day? And am I being a good steward of that time and energy? Because that time and energy should be going towards moving my purpose forward, not this stagnant distraction energy waste that's going to nothing. I want to ask you, because there's obviously that you have influence online, you have influence in what you do, but you seem to have gotten to this place where you've been able to get rid of distractions so that you can stay focused on the now, because that's another thing that takes you away from now, are those distractions. What has been the best exercise for you to be able to stay in the moment and flick those distractions away?
So, just full transparency, right? That's not, me. I would be lying if I said I was perfect or even very good at things like that. Again, a lot of this just comes down to sheer blind luck, right? You have to understand, right? Something, a perfect example, someone who is a sex addict, a drug addict, an alcoholic, that person just got unlucky where I got lucky. I did the drugs, I did the alcohol, I had the sexual whatever, and my personality wasn't such that it was addicting, right? I could go out binge drinking for 3 nights in a row and then just not do it for 2 weeks after that. Whereas some people, they don't have that luxury, right? So I think that one, it's important to meet yourself where you are and realize that a lot of times we have this comparisonitis. We know, right? Social media talks about this all the time, about how people look. But it's not just about how people look. You can never compare yourself to someone else, right? Whether it's body, whether it's goals, whether it's habits. It's like, again, my literal internal makeup is different than yours. The things that drive me are different than you. The things that I find easy, you find hard. The things that you find easy, I find hard. So it's not people will think it, like, look at someone like me and be like, oh, well, you have it all so, under control or something. It's like, well, or I just got lucky and you got unlucky, right? Everything exists on a bell curve, right? Where most people will fall in the middle of that bell curve. Most people are average, but there will be some people who fall on skew one side and they get all of the good luck, and one person who falls on the bad side and they get all of the bad luck. It's the same thing as, you can talk about obesity in the same way, right? There's plenty of people who will say, well, obesity is just, you just got to exercise more or something like that. But someone who is extremely obese has different brain chemicals that make them overeat more, that make them more sedentary, that makes them less likely. So it's, yes, you can work your way out of these things, but it's, you have to look at it from that perspective and realize that, like, it's not that you're broken and I've got it figured out. It's that I'm playing the game on easy mode and you're playing the game on hard mode. So it just happens to be fortunate that the thing that's easy for me are things like stillness, being present, things like that. Now, beyond that, again, I have trained myself in that way, trained my brain in that way to lean on a lot of these tactics, right? I've been a coach for a long time where I've helped people with these type of things. So again, that gives me an advantage. Most people only have themselves as an example, right? You're an N of one. I know what I do and what I try it and it doesn't work. And I try it and it works. And I try it and it doesn't work. But being a coach, I've done this with 1,000 people. So I've seen this play out on a much broader scale, right? I've been able to help people and say, like, okay, let's try this. Okay, let's try this. So I know what works. So for me, it's much easier to make those decisions because I've actually seen it play out. I've walked people, I've walked myself, and I've walked hundreds and hundreds of people through these paths, through these things. So it's like, to not do what I know works is just tantamount to self-sabotage. It's just literally me saying, like, I'm actively harming myself. Again, coming down to me being a very logical person, it's everything is a fork in the road. Go left or go right. Yes or no. Do or don't. Right? And I know that if I choose the thing that I feel that is good for me, I'm doing good for my life. And if I choose the thing that is bad for me, I'm doing bad for my life. We don't get to stay the same, right? A lot of people go, well, I know I should work out, but like, I'll get to that in a year or two. Or I know I should be saving more, but I'll do that when it comes. But it's like, you don't get to just stay where you are. If you're not getting better, you're actively getting worse. Right? The human body is decaying all the time. So if you're not working on your health, if you're not eating well, if you're not exercising, if you're not doing the things that you need to do, you're not just staying where you are. At 30, you'll be less healthy than 20. At 40, you'll be less healthy than 30. So if I'm not actively trying to improve, that means I'm accepting that I'm actively getting worse. And to me, again, that just comes down to logic. So I'm not fooling myself with this false reality where it's like, well, everything's going to be okay if I just keep doing things how I'm doing it. That's, the first thing I do with a new client, with my podcast, anything that I can that I need is like, the first step is to get to reality. Most people live in a fantasy world where it's like, oh, well, things are going to be okay. Things will work out. Or again, I can just ignore this stuff and I'll get to it later. Or, I know things aren't that good right now, but like, I have bigger priorities. It's like some things there aren't bigger priorities. When you have, like when you have battling addiction, or again, your health, your wealth, everything isn't about money, but money is the thing that allows us to go through our lives, for better or for worse, in the year 2023, 2024, we need money. So it's like, to not pay attention to these things, I'm just saying, like, I don't care about my life. And I just told you the thing I'm most grateful for is today, the fact that I get to be alive. So it's a no-brainer for me that I have to choose the things that are going to make my life better, because if not, I'm saying that I don't care and I'm not respecting the one life that I do get.
You were talking about, well, I mean, we've been talking a lot about being in the now and being present. And for people out there that, believe in manifestation and visualizing to manifest, that could sound, well, how does that work together? And I'll throw myself in that mix because I do believe in the power of vision and visualization and using our imagination. I'm creating my reality every day. Like, that's a big focus of mine, is that. But the one part I've not been able to figure out the balance of, because it's easy for me to get lost in the future. Just stay there. I'd like jump 20 years ahead all the time. How do you balance the two? And what I mean by that is staying in the now, but then also using the power of visualization to create the reality or to create the life that you want to live.
Right. Yeah, I totally get it. And it's a great question. And I think a lot of people get stuck with this because it's the same thing, right? You can talk about visualization, manifestation, but you can even talk about just wanting to be better, right? How can I say in the same breath, all that matters is right now, you can't focus on the future, but you also have to care about your health 10 years down the road, your wealth 10 years down the road. Shouldn't all that matters, if we take that to an extreme, isn't all that matters? Why don't I do the heroin? Why don't I do whatever? Because it feels good right now, and right now is all that matters. So I think that we have to understand that you can want for more, you can strive for more, but that's different than fixating yourself on it. What we have to do is detach from the expectation. Expectations are what drive all negative feelings. Because an expectation, or you use this word, I meant to chime in on this, but this is a word that I've tried to bar from my vocabulary, is should, right? The shoulds are where all negative thoughts come from. Life should be this way. I know I should do this. I expected it to be this way. It was supposed to be like this. That is where negative emotions come from, because when a should, an expectation, or a supposed to exists, that means that, again, I'm arguing with reality. If something should be, that inherently means that it is not, right? If I say I should have lost 20 pounds doing this diet, then I didn't lose the 20 pounds. And that means what I want and what is real are at odds with each other. So that's different than just saying, like, I'm going to diet and exercise, and understand that through diet and exercise, I will probably lose weight, but I'm not going to get my emotions attached to whether that number is 20 pounds or 10 pounds, and whether it comes in 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years. That's what we have to detach from. We can look at what we want to become, how we want our life to unfold. We can visualize, we can manifest, we can just prepare for it, right? Like, if I want to retire in 10 years, I have to start taking actions for that today. If I want to be a certain level of fitness at the age of 50, I have to start taking actions at 30, 35, 40 to be able to do that. But what I have to do is detach myself from the expectation and the emotional component of it, where if it doesn't work out like that, that I get upset, that I feel beaten down, that I feel, again, like that it's quote unquote unfair. Because that's what a lot of people do. They're like, all right, I'm going to do this, and when I do this, I should receive this benefit. And if that works out that way, it's great. But the thing is, we don't get to choose the way it works out. You take 100 people and give them the same workout, the same diet, they're going to get 100 different results. Take 100 people and they all put their money in the stock market. 50 of them are going to gain, 50 of them are going to lose. Some people are going to stay the same. We don't get to dictate results. That comes in the future. Again, this is a perfect reason why all we get to dictate is now, and now are actions. So I can control my actions. I can't control my results. So my manifestation, my visualization, my planning, my preparation, it has a picture of what that should get me to in the future, quote unquote, but all I can control is right now. So I have to detach from that expectation and realize that, like, my actions right now matter. They will theoretically drive me in a direction, but I can't make it so. I don't get to decide that is the case. So again, I can invest for the future, but the stock market will do what it does. I can diet and exercise, but my body is going to do what it does. I can go to therapy with my wife, but my wife could divorce me. We have to understand that only so much of life is within our control. So there's no, manifestation and visualization and stuff like that. Like, it's great to have a picture of what we're driving towards in the future, but we also have to understand that we have no actual control over it. And the universe gets to decide what happens. All we can do is what we can do. And what we can do is control our actions today, in the here and in the now.
I love that. One of the, so I've recently learned, I've learned a lot about truth recently that has shocked me. But the other thing I've been learning about that has shocked me just as much is surrender. And there's a lot of levels to surrender that I never, ever thought about until recently. And one of those is surrendering our free will for a greater will, or to a greater power, and trusting that the universe, God, or however people describe the creative force that brought us here, or trying not to offend people, where I used to don't care about offending people. Now I do. I genuinely do. But part of that surrender for me that I didn't know about, that I never put the thought to, was surrendering the how, surrendering the when, surrendering the why, the when, how, all of that. Because the time, when it's going to happen, how it will happen, I'm just going to trust. Like, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to put my faith, my purpose in motion, and I'm going to move towards that. And I'm just going to trust that these goals, this vision, this belief that this is what I was created to do, this is my purpose, I'm going to surrender how that all happens and how it will all look. Because I kid you not, one of the biggest mistakes that I made early on probably was getting behind a microphone, thinking that I knew a lot of the stuff that I really probably didn't know to the level that I needed to know it to talk about it. But I talked about it anyway, because I felt led to. Now I'm realizing that a lot of times I would get frustrated with the process, and I would get frustrated with the timing. Or if the universe presented me with something that looked similar to what my goal was, but it wasn't what I was seeing here, I would push it away and go, that's not the dream. That's not what it looked like. And I would go the other direction. I don't know if that was for me or not, because I didn't take the time to find out. I just assumed that everything was going to work out the way I pictured it. And I'm realizing now that that's not necessarily how it works. What do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty spot on. It's acceptance of the way things are. It's, if anyone who's ever been in the ocean has had this experience of, like, you go out and you're in at the beach and you go into the ocean and you get hit by a big wave and you go, oh yeah, like, the ocean does not care about me. Like, the ocean will fucking kill me if right? Like you get sucked under one time and you come up for air, you're like, whoa, I literally could have died. And you just remember, like, okay, like, Earth is crazy. Same thing when you go out in nature, right? You go out and you go hiking in like a big national park or something, and you see the crazy mountain ranges or the huge trees, and it just gives you a respect for, oh, there's something out there that's bigger than me. And we've heard the stories of the astronauts who go out into outer space and they come and they see Earth from space, and they come back with a whole new perspective because you realize how minuscule everything is. And that's really what all of this is. It's like, we think that we have control because we want control, because control makes us feel safe. But in reality, there's almost nothing that we control in this life. I used to say, all you can control is what's within yourself, right? You control your actions, you control your thoughts, you control your speech. But in reality, we don't even control that much, right? How often do we misspeak? How often do we have a thought where we go, oh my God, why did I even think something so crazy, right? We don't control our body. I can't will myself skinny or stronger. I can't make myself not have a heart attack if that happens. So it's like, even the things that are within our control aren't. So how silly is it to then think that we get to control things like goals and our finances and our dreams and everything else. It's just not real. So again, this is why I'm saying, like, for me, this is just, it's so simple. It's so binary. It's like, you can't, there is no amount of wanting it to be different makes it so, right? Like you use the word truth. This is the ultimate truth. You cannot have it be a different way. The universe is what it is. And no matter what, no amount of kicking and screaming or digging your feet in or anything will make it different. So what you have to do is come to that realization and be like, understand that this is the starting off point. I have to have this conversation with you or anyone listening. It's like, now we can actually start playing the game. Before you're trying to play a game that doesn't exist and you can't win that game. Once you come to realization that, like, okay, I'm not in control, the universe is going to knock me around like the ocean will, but what my best opportunity is still to keep swimming, right? Like, you can be in the ocean and you have no control over the ocean, but the best you can do is try to swim, like either that or die. So like, you have to, as much as like the ocean is going to do what it's going to do and the waves are going to knock you around no matter what, you still keep swimming because that's the best chance that you have. And that's what it is with life. The universe is going to do what it's going to do. Life is going to do what it's going to do. Your spouse, your boss, your kids, everything is going to happen like it's going to happen. And yet the best thing that you can possibly do, the only chance you can possibly have, is to just keep going. I mean, and that's really all it is. And once you realize that, now you can detach yourself. I was saying before, detach yourself from the expectation and from the emotion and realize, like, anything that happens to me, it's like, that's how it was supposed to happen. Anything that bad that happens to me, it's like, well, that's what it was supposed to be. Anything bad that happened to me in the past, people are like, oh, do you regret this or would you change this? I can't. You can't ever change anything because everything that happened had to happen exactly the way that it did for me to end up here right now. Everything that happened in my life, for good or for bad, there's no such thing as good or bad, right? It's like, you can look at something that happened to you in the past and it's like, well, that's something bad that happened, but it led to right now. So it's not good or bad. It was just part of my story. And now if I can look at my past like that, I can look at now like that. So once I'm going through something bad, that brings me solace because it's like, this is just one of those things. This is just a part of my story that's supposed to happen. It is what it is. It's not good or bad. Good or bad are judgments that humans put on things. There is no such thing as good or bad in the universe. There's gravity, there's waves. The sun rises and it sets. Is it good or bad? It isn't. It just is. So we have to get our way from these value judgments and trying to make everything fit into these little boxes, which is natural, right? That's how humans work. We have to make the universe, the world, life is too grand for us. Like, we don't understand it. Our brains are not made to comprehend all of this stuff that's going on. So we try to simplify things. What can I control? Life, my day-to-day. It's like, but things aren't like that. So, again, it's just the harsh reality. It's not like being mean or anything. Like, how can you say X, Y, and Z isn't bad? It's like, okay, like, I mean, I guess it's bad if you could choose to have a bad thing happen or have a good thing happen, probably choose a good thing, but you don't get to choose. What you get to do is move forward and do your best every day. And that's really it.
It's so good. It reminds me that looking back at my life, all the things that I got really excited about or the things that happened that appeared to be so great and grand and wonderful, the price that came with it, the price tag that came with it after, like, it's kind of like, well, it wasn't that good after all. But then the flip side of that, I look at all the traumatic events in my life, self-inflicted or not, and I can honestly look back at them and go, I'm really grateful that happened. Like, that set me up for what I get to do now, and like living my dreams and doing this and that. Like, there was a breakthrough that came from it. There was a lesson that I learned. I never made that mistake again. Like, I could give just example after example after example. And then life is just such an interesting paradox in so many ways. And the more I even ponder that thought, it's almost like living on this planet. The experience of it is almost the opposite of what we're taught, or the truth is the opposite of what we're taught, or the way that we're told to believe is the opposite of what we're supposed to do. You brought up the game. I think life is a game. And there's a game that certain people, and I don't want to go in a weird route here, but I believe that there's a game that gets you stuck and locked into a matrix. Stop there. And then there's the game that you can choose to play with yourself. And yes, it involves other people, but it's really between you and your creator, that game, that path, that hero's journey. That's a separate game. But to be in that game, you can't be in this one. And I think a lot of times we get stuck in this game over here, this matrix, and we lose sight of what's true and who we really are. We literally try to live for people and that, or live to please people, and that never turns out the way that we want. That always leads to heartbreak and even doing what others tell us to do. And I've recently, and even though I never thought that I was in it, I've realized that I was a lot more in it than I thought. And being able to look at the harm that not only has caused me, but because of what my gifts and talents are, I was able to use that and I used it in a way that wasn't really good, in a way that I would want to use it now. And even though I can't really regret it, I've learned from it. It's given me a whole new respect of this microphone. Because like it or not, and I know that this is true, I don't care how big your audience is, there is a perception, if you've got one of these in front of your face, that you are an authority. And I think one of the most humbling realities for me recently is learning that this should be taken. We should have a sense of responsibility when we step behind the mic and start talking, because there's someone out there that's going to listen. And if we're not saying things that are true or in integrity, like, we could be doing a lot of harm. And that has been a very sobering thing for me, realizing and looking back at some of my actions. Now I can't change it, but moving forward, I can. And, but I really appreciate people like you and the messages that you deliver, because it's not even opinion. It's very powerful information and very powerful wisdom, and it allows people to sit with it and take it where they're at in life, and then they have something that they can do with it. You've thrown out, in this short time we've been together, a month's worth of wisdom in 30 minutes. And I'm honored for that. And I would really I want the audience to be able to sit with that. And Paul, I'd love to have you back sometime to take some deeper dives on some different discussions, because I've really enjoyed this. I've really enjoyed listening to you. And I'm grateful for the man that you are, because it's not just a surface level, I'm fit and ripped and I'm going to flex and people are going to want to do business with me. Like, you do the work. And it's obvious because of the words that are coming out of your mouth, not just what I've seen online, but I can listen now. And I have a lot of respect for you. And I want to thank you again for being here. I'd like to give you the opportunity, but the last words are yours, where you can share anything you want to share. But I especially want you to plug your coaching, your courses, your books, anything that you have, your YouTube, your podcast. Literally, the floor is yours. Finish us up.
Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. For anyone listening, this is the type of stuff that I love to talk about. The main place that I would love for people to contact me or get in touch with me is my podcast. My podcast is called Happy, Healthy Human. You can find it wherever podcasts are. And it's just exactly stuff like this. This is the realities of being a human. It's exactly what you just said. These are just truths. These are not my opinions. These are just the realities of life. And I feel this is stuff that I inherently understand, and I've also studied a lot, and I try to distill this down into a understandable, digestible place for most people, because whether you like it or not, using that same ocean analogy, if you're swimming against the current, you're wasting energy, you're wasting time. Whether you know what's happening or not doesn't matter. Whether you realize it's happening or not doesn't matter. And a lot of people's frustration and overwhelm and negative feelings in life come because they don't realize what's happening. They're swimming against the current and wondering why everything is so hard for them, when all they have to do is turn around and swim with the current and allow the flow of the universe and the flow of life to work for them rather than against them. And it doesn't fix everything right away. It doesn't make everything perfect, but it makes everything a lot easier when you're not fighting against the realities of the universe. So that's what I aim to do with my podcast, with my coaching. I think I've sent you all the links. So, my podcast is a great place for people to check in. And if people want to talk to me directly, you can either directly message me on Instagram, or I have a private Facebook community where I do trainings and group coaching every week. So check me out wherever.
Paul, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
All right. Talk to you again soon.